Well, boys, I never thought that I'd actually sit down and make a full-on video for the Trials of Osiris weapons, with me being mainly a PvE player and all that, but with the recent changes that have now been introduced, and this past weekend becoming the most played Trials weekend in the history of Destiny, like ever, well, here we are. Trials loot is now more accessible than ever, and because I know a lot of you all are hopping in and getting your hands on that sweet, precious loot for the first time, I thought now would be a perfect opportunity to go over the best perks for each weapon that you should be on the lookout for. That's right, the God Rolls. Now, you know me, all right? Good old Papa MiFi is not here to waste your time, so you will be able to use the timestamps in the description to skip to whatever weapon you want to hear about, or if you're pulling this video up after one of these weapons drops for you, to check and see if you should keep the roll you got or not. So yeah, there you go. Just use the timestamps. Okay, so the only plug I got is if you're new, and only if you enjoy my videos or find them useful, then feel free to subscribe. I'd appreciate it. All right, let's get into it. So now some of you might be wondering why I'm covering all the Trials weapons and not just the new ones. Well, that's because we only got one new Trials weapon this season. But, and this is a pretty big but, a lot of previous Trials weapons got reprised, so new perks, rolls, and whatnot. I'm gonna sort these weapons, in this video from like heavy, energy, and kinetic. Also, for the sake of time, and, not talking about every weapon twice, I am not gonna be mentioning the adept versions, as those are essentially the same as the normal ones, just with a few minor differences. But all around, the perk pools and everything are still the same, so yeah. Starting us off with power weapons, you got 3 of them. First up is Tomorrow's Answer. This is a high impact frame void rocket launcher. For PvE, well, with Ascendancy being pretty god tier after the buff to Explosive Light and Linears being amazing, I wouldn't really recommend using it. But nonetheless, the perks to be on the lookout for if you're just dead set on using it is high impact casing in column 2, autoloading holster in column 3, and lasting impression in column 4. Then for PvP in column 2, you're going to want black powder for the increase to blast radius, column 3 tracking module, which is pretty self-explanatory, or impulse amplifier for making those rockets go even faster. And finally, column 4, where cluster bomb is going to be your go-to all day long. When it comes to rockets, you normally want velocity for PvE and blast radius for PvP. Next is going to be Solas's Scar. This is a caster frame solar sword. Now, when it comes to PvE, you really have 2 options. Either use it like a standard sword, so slice and dice, or use it as a caster frame, throwing your disc of death everywhere. For the more traditional slice and dice route, in column 1, you have my personal favorite, Jagged Edge, for the most impact with a drawback to ammo capacity and mag size, Honed Edge for a small increase to impact and no penalties at all, or Tempered Edge for a very small increase to impact and a decent bump to mag size and ammo capacity. Then for column 2, go with either Balance Guard, Burst Guard, or Swordmaster's Guard. Column 3, Relentless Strike to continue getting ammo back after 3 light attacks within a short duration. Then column 4, Vorpal Weapon for a 15% damage increase to yellow health bar enemies. Now, if you're going the other route of using your heavy attack a ton, well, this roll is also going to be your PvP roll, so I'm just going to kind of, tie these into one. For column 1, you're going to want Hungry Edge. Column 2, Balance Guard. Column 3, Tireless Blade, which will grant sword ammo on every other powered sword kill. You kind of see where this is going. And finally, Chain Reaction to make enemies go boom when you kill them. This roll overall is just going to synergize very well if your main purpose is just slinging those discs everywhere. Swords all around, in my opinion, are in a decent spot. It's just currently in PvE, everyone's kind of using linears after the buff, which, I don't blame them. They're super fun, and it's something new for us to use. And in PvP, well, you can't really 3-peek anymore, so their usage has definitely fallen. And the final weapon, which is the only new Trials weapon this season, but don't let that fool you because it is an absolute powerhouse. And that's the Reed's Regret. This is a precision frame stasis linear fusion rifle. So first up for PvE, and I'm going to talk about columns 3 and 4 first, then come back to column 2 in just a second. In column 3, you're going to want triple tap for the ability to get free ammo straight from thin air after landing 3 precision shots. Then in column 4, well, it's a bit tricky as of right now because the best perk in this column is Vorpal. But like I said, that's just for right now. Firing Line might soon overtake it. Firing Line is currently bugged, but that's all we know. We don't know when it's getting fixed or what's changing about it. Is it getting reverted back to I believe it was like a 20 to like 30% damage increase? But we don't know. The only thing we know is that it's providing way less of a damage bonus than what it should be. So for right now, Vorpal is your go-to, but if you just so happen to get a firing line roll, keep it until Bungie releases the patch for it. Now back to column 2, where you have 2 options. Accelerated coils paired with a boss spec mod for high burst damage, or enhanced battery paired with a backup mod for 7 shots in the mag, which with triple tap is going to allow you to shoot 10 shots straight. This is good for sustained DPS over time and higher total damage output. I would personally use the 7 rounds in the mag plus the backup mag to shoot 10 shots for something like a raid boss, but then for something like a champion or, an enemy that you need to put a lot of damage in very fast, then use the one with accelerated coils and boss spec. Now for PvP in column 3, you're going to want Killing Wind or Quick Draw. Both of these perks are going to help with the weapon's stats. And then for column 4, you're going to want Headstone, which is a new perk. Essentially, you kind of get like a free dragonfly effect whenever you shoot the stasis crystal, or Harmony, which is going to be good in case you got to get a few kills with another weapon first and then switch off to this. Then, you could be dishing out some major damage. Linears are okay in PvP. I haven't really used them myself, but I know a lot of people use them and love them. So next up is our energy weapons, and here we got 3 of them. First is going to be Exile's Curse. This is a high impact frame arc fusion rifle. Now, I'm not going to say this thing sucks, because it doesn't, especially after the fusion buff. But for PvE, well, let's just take a look at the perks. In column 3, you don't really have any good perks here. And by that, I mean you don't have any reload perks. You could rock Killing Wind or maybe even Slide Shot, but this column is very lackluster in my opinion. Then for column 4, well, you got Vorpal, and that's the only thing that I'd really recommend. But now for PvP is where this thing shines. In column 3, you have Slide Shot or Killing Wind, both great perks allowing you to map people. Then for column 4, where you have High Impact Reserves and Kickstart. I would recommend High Impact for general use, but if you're looking to ape with a fusion, well, Kickstart is going to allow that to a certain extent. Next is going to be Igneous Hammer. This is an aggressive frame solar hand cannon for PvE. Well, don't use it. All right, please don't. But if you're determined to, then you got a bunch of different options for column 3, like Rapid Hit, Outlaw, Subsistence, and Overflow, all perks to help with ammo and the magazine. Then for column 4, you have 2 options: Rampage for stacking damage buff, or One for All for higher end content where you're going to want to get the damage buff first without actually having to get a kill. Like I said, don't use it for PvE, but for PvP, the story is different. Now, it's not as good as it used to be, but it's still not bad. In column 3, I'm recommending Quick Draw or Overflow. Great neutral game perk, and if you haven't used Quick Draw on a hand cannon, trust me, you'll love it. And Overflow for a ton of ammo in your mag whenever you run over a special brick. Then for column 4, either Elemental Capacitor if you're running Overflow in column 3, or Snapshot, which paired with Quick Draw is going to make this hand cannon feel amazing. Remember that if you are going for the Overflow Elemental Capacitor role, you're going to need to be using an arc subclass for the increased handling. And finally, we have the submachine gun, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce because I know I'm just going to butcher it. So yeah, this is a precision frame void submachine gun, and my God, is it great. In my opinion, the God roll for both PvP and PvE are pretty much the same, so I'm only going to cover one role. In column 3, you're going to want Killing Wind for the increase to mobility, weapon range, and handling. Now, you could argue heating up as well, or even dynamic sway, but with this being a 600 RPM, well, it shouldn't be that hard to control, but if you are having problems, then go for it. Then for column 4, Kill Clip. Seriously, only Kill Clip. This sub is amazing, and is really the only God roll from Trials that I'm still chasing. So if you have one, I'm extremely jealous, because my God, I just want one already. Now, for our final group, we have the kinetic weapons, and there are 3 of them. First up is Eye of Soul. This is an adaptive frame 90 RPM sniper rifle. For PvE in column 3, you're actually going to want a new perk this season, Ensemble. Faster reloads and handling when around teammates is, well, massive. Then for column 4, well, you only have one option, and that's Vorpal Weapon. It's a super basic role, in my opinion. Now for PvP, you have a few different options. For column 3, you have Moving Target for increased movement and target acquisition after ADSing, or No Distractions for the reduced flinch while ADSing. Then for column 4, you got 3 more options. Either Snapshot, Opening Shot, or Vorpal Weapon. All are great and really comes down to what you want and your playstyle. Next is going to be Astral Horizon. This is an aggressive frame shotgun for PvE. Don't use it, like actually. Now, if you're not gonna listen and you wanna use it anyway, go for auto loading in column 3, Entrench in column 4. I still wouldn't use it, even with that roll, but yeah, that probably is the best roll in case you are gonna use it. Now for PvP, where you actually got some decent perks, and by decent perks, I mean surplus in column 3 to up your handling, also reload speed and stability, but you mainly care about the handling, and opening shot in column 4 for that sweet increased accuracy and range on the opening shot of your attack. It's an all-around decent shotgun for PvP if you need one for your kinetic slot. And finally, we have the Messenger. This is a high impact frame 340 RPM pulse rifle. Now, when it comes to PvE in column 3, you have Rapid Hit or Outlaw, both great perks to aid you in reloading. Then for column 4, you have Kill Clip, One for All, or maybe even Frenzy, all great damage perks. Then for PvP, well, you only have one role that you should actually go for. Outlaw, Desperado. Oh yeah, don't ask questions. All right, just get this role, go out and start decimating people. Seriously, Outlaw Desperado is god tier. And there we have it. All the Trials of Osiris weapons and their corresponding god rolls. Sadly, the Summoner and the Scholar are no longer available. So if you're wondering where the Scout and the Auto were, well, they pretty much don't exist. Also, please let me know if you like these styles of god roll kind of guides, as I've been doing god rolls best perks for years now. And I feel like these guides where I'm not spending a lot of time talking about the perks and I'm more or less just telling you the perks to get are a whole lot more beneficial and more time efficient, I guess you could say. Just let me know in the comment section if you like this style or if you want me to go back to the ones where I would talk about the perk and then tell you what every single perk does and then why it's good on that weapon and all that, or if you just kind of like this short, straight to the point style. Now, if you are looking for a place to hang out and talk about your weapon rolls with other people, well, I invite you to join my community Discord, where we have over 8,000 members. You'll definitely get some opinions on your rolls and the weapons that you're using if that's what you're looking for. With all that being said, if you enjoyed the video or you found it helpful, then be sure to, let's see. People have recently been commenting what I should say, like what super I should say for the like button thing. So, yeah, just be sure to go and gun that like button for me, baby. I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.